Yeah, DUI enforcement has definitely changed. I'm telling you, I think that's why training these new officers, and of course Oregon's one of the very few states that does the 8 hours of drugs and impaired driving at the basic academy, which is a good thing because these officers need to know that it's not just alcohol out there causing problems.
Well, yeah, with the drugs and the alcohol, and it really is a serious problem that a lot of people don't realize. And right before I left Kaiser, we had an incident where a gentleman who had been arrested for drunk driving once before, when he actually in an incident killed his brother. I believe it was his brother, but then a year or two later, maybe slightly longer than that, he was drunk and drove his pickup truck through the side of a house, killing a husband and wife who were asleep in bed.
I remember that case.
And when me and my officers got there, he's still on the gas in the truck with the music blaring, still continuing to try and drive his truck through the house, not realizing what he did.
Right.
And so, it's cases like that, that make things tough, and it's, I mentioned earlier with case law and the different things, it's really tough on officers and smaller departments, because now, like we talked about, if somebody refuses the breath test, district attorneys want the officers to apply for a search warrant to get a blood draw. And we've already talked about the blood draw issues, but what a lot of people don't understand, and what makes it so tough, is a search warrant isn't obtained in 3 minutes like you see on TV. Even with boilerplates and the ability to send them off via email to the DA to review, and then the judge to review and sign and issue the search warrant, it still takes the better part of an hour. And the downside to that is, now by the time you get it, over an hour's passed, you're not seeing a true reflection of what the suspect's blood alcohol level is, because it's either went up or it's went down.
Yes.
And not to mention how it hampers police agencies, because some smaller agencies might only have 1 or 2 officers on at a time. Or we'll go to like Kaiser, where we had 4 to 5. Well, if we had 4 on that night and I lose an officer for an hour applying for a search warrant, and it's actually longer by the time...
And you're waiting at the hospital.
We're waiting at the hospital. I might lose an officer, so I'm losing a quarter of my patrol staffing to process the DUI. And that makes it difficult for the rest of the department, where you're trying to serve 40,000 other people in your community. And it only takes a second for your resources to be completely depleted. Mm-hmm. And I know, and it's been said by many judges, we don't care about the amount of time or resources. You can call people in. Well, that still takes time. And so in the grand scheme of things, of trying to save lives, that the amount of time that it takes to do that turns younger officers away from enforcing DUI laws.
Exactly.
And in turn makes our streets unsafe.
Yeah, and it affects your supervisors too, because there are some supervisors that's like, okay, we don't want to mess with that, because just like you said, I'm going to lose that person on patrol, and who's going to answer the calls now? Because you're tied up for 3 or 4, maybe 5 hours on a DUI investigation.